Right. There's a lot that people don't know about immigration. That's one of the big problems with this topic. It is very complicated. And what's happened is the conversation has always gone to the illegal side. But there also is that huge population that are legal and that are trying to go through the system that's very complicated and has not done them justice at all.
So if you could break that down for me, the ones who may currently be in this country legally that weren't to start with, how does that work? How did that work?
Well, somebody can be in the system for 2 to 8 years before they even, and they're actually here, they have jobs, they're here, they're participating in the economy of the United States, and yet they're kind of in limbo for 2 to 8 years of their lives, not knowing if they're going to be a permanent resident or not.
Are these also people besides that have jobs, maybe students or?
Yes, students also come in. They come in on what they call F visas. It's all alphabet soup too in immigration. It actually denotes the chapter and the subparagraph of the Act, Immigration Act. So you'll hear F, you'll hear H-1B, you'll hear all these different letters, and people don't know what they mean unless you're actually involved in the system.
Kristen, your last report that I saw posted on the Beacon had to do with Muslims, and I understand you got quite a bit of feedback on that.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about that. We wanted to write about the diversity of the Muslim population in St. Louis, which is huge, and it's from all parts of the world, and really represents the Muslim community around the world, which is, I think, a surprising thing for a lot of people. And in that story, we found that people were from all over the world. They held a variety of degrees of belief. They were impacted by their culture, their country, their language, their customs, as well as their experiences here and their education. So we did a two-part story about that, and we've heard a lot about it from people.
Yeah, in terms of the ethnic diversity, we have a huge Bosnian population.
Yeah.
Aren't most of them Muslims?
Yes, yeah. The Bosnian population is obviously huge, and the majority probably of the Muslim population in St. Louis. And I think that's surprising for people to see someone who is white and to know that they're Muslim if they can't readily identify them, whether they're wearing a hijab or not. So I think it surprised a lot of people to read about that.
Yeah. Alicia, with all this controversy over the Arizona immigration law, have you seen calls and inquiries increase at your law firm?
Yes, I have. I've heard of a lot of, there's a lot of confusion about what the Arizona law stands for. Arizona, I think, had a really symbolic step when they took that step to try to get the federal government to enforce the laws that are already on the books. But a lot of people have come out of the woodwork, believe it or not, from driver's license. They try to renew their driver's license, and before, you didn't have to show whether or not you were a U.S. citizen. So they would continue to renew their license, and now all of a sudden they have to show it. So that's really where a lot of inquiries are coming from. They say, hey, why do I all of a sudden, I never needed this before, now I need it. There's been some very tragic stories on my end from people that have been here for 60 years and never knew that they had come across the border when they were 6 months old.
And they could conceivably have to go back home or be deported.
Yeah, conceivably, right.
So as going forward, how do both of you see this discussion, this conversation evolving?
Well, I think that's going to depend a lot on what happens tonight with the election. Obama ran on immigration reform. It was something that was big, and it's something that hasn't really happened yet, other than bringing up the DREAM Act. So I think we could probably expect a lot of gridlock for the next 2 years, maybe some punitive reform. There may be some things going on in the lame duck session, but I think at least for the next 2 years, I don't know that we're going to see much.
Yeah, this is a very old conversation. Benjamin Franklin in the 1750s, he had the same concerns about German immigrants that were coming into Pennsylvania. So this is a conversation that's been going on for many, many years in the United States. The only difference is now there's not an expectation of assimilation, which back in Benjamin Franklin's day there was. So I think there's a huge population of natives that are very concerned about the increase in illegal population that are coming through. And so I think this isn't going to go away. It's been with us the entire time. I think it's going to continue to grow.
Okay, Alicia McQueen-Gadberry and Kristen here, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now let's go back to the 9 Interview Center and join Bob.